My name is Marcie, and I'm a conscious dying coach and sacred passage doula. My presentation today for you is embracing conscious dying and redefining end of life care in America. So I found these adorable salt and pepper shakers so that I could say, May the 4th be with you. But really, what I wanted to say is, should we be talking about this? Isn't this a pretty taboo subject? Well, and those of you who have been here to this nursing intensive year after year hear me talking about this every year. And so do all of my friends and my family members. So, besides this May the 4th thought, it also came to thought this song, the Salt and Pepper song, Let's Talk About Sex, right? Let's talk about you and me and all the things, all the good things, all the bad things. Let's talk about it. It doesn't have to be taboo. It is taboo if you don't talk about it enough, though, unfortunately. So, what will we cover today? A little different than the past. We're going to talk about conscious dying, the definitions and the principles, and changing the way that we actually die and experience death, our own death, the death of loved ones, dissolving the fear that a lot of us grew up with, not experiencing it fully, stepping back because we were afraid to experience it. But once we face this, we can recognize that there is no reason for this fear and it can dissolve. We're going to talk about palliative care and the choices that we have, some more in other states than others, and then we'll just review. I actually have a closing meditation to share as well. So, what is conscious dying? It is a profound and complex topic that does involve aspects like spirituality, psychology, emotions, the physical and practical aspects. And this picture is one way I use to tell people about death and dying that, if we are preparing to die, it's really better to prepare sooner rather than later. If you were to get ready for a journey and travel somewhere on a vacation, as I will be doing next week to Kansas City and the following week to California, um, you will certainly pack a bag. I'm going to pack a big bag with lots of shoes, but like I always do. And we want to spend less time preparing when we're actually dying. We want to spend that time in a meaningful way with those that we love. If we know our days are numbered, we can do all that other stuff way before we get here. So, we want to spend those days with those we love, feeling peaceful and not afraid. And so we can control that. We can control the experience that we leave our family and friends with and how they experience our death. And we certainly don't want those people to suffer as we are preparing for this final journey. And oftentimes I have witnessed individuals and their families where they have been in denial and things just seem to be so chaotic. And, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and oh my God, we don't know who we want to call. We don't know to take the body into their care. What do we do? Is the coroner going to come and take them to the city morgue? And, that answer is when you know that this is coming, that's not what happens. So we want to gift our loved ones with peace at that time so that they can reflect on the relationships that they have had with you and not worry about what to do next. And of course, we may have a little four-legged friend. Maybe we need to figure out how can that four-legged friend be taken care of when we're not here. I mean, those are the things that we really want to do is take care of all of those that we leave behind. And so conscious dying has an intrinsic connection to Jean Watson and her caring science. And so, as you've heard Nurse Heather sharing in her opening remarks, I think she said we will be diving into Jean Watson's caring science in our next nursing theory series. And all of the caring science really blends in quite well with conscious dying. Watson says that there's a metaphysical relationship between our physical and scientific world, the universal infinity of the evolving human consciousness, and that is conscious dying. As we evolve, we can understand that our human place in this universe, where it is, where it isn't, we are not separate from the universal field of love. It's infinite love. And this was actually the philosophy that sparked the Conscious Dying Institute. In caring science, it's referred to as transpersonal caring beyond space and time. So you can look up the principles of conscious dying and the subtle energy forms of conscious dying, really like increasing beauty, pleasure, and contentment at the end of life. That is what's important. Enjoy these senses and these moments we have. And for us as nurses, it is important for us to be a steward of conscious dying, for us to expand the acceptance of the universal field of love that we are a part of, and to learn to be with intense emotions. What we really want to do is destigmatize death and dying. Now, this is a painting of Alex Gray's dying, and my daughter's painting that she actually explained through her energy, looking at this as we were actually on a journey to visit one of my patients, and she was in the back seat. So I was talking to her a lot about death and dying. And when we got home, she painted this. And I thought she really understood what I was saying about the dying process and what happens when we leave this physical world, that we are like energy traveling beyond space and time. And if you're really quiet, you can feel that energy. That person that you love that's not here is there. They may not be where we can see them physically, but this is the way we should look at death. If we're quiet, we can feel this energy of the person. And it's my hopes that we can begin to get comfortable with this enough so that we can share it with others, but also that we find peace ourselves with our own death and dying. And in this way, we can actually learn to live and be more present. And the Conscious Dying Collective, or it was the Conscious Dying Institute, has just recently transitioned over to the Conscious Dying Collective. They have a pathway to ensure that people can have the resolution that they desire in their final days. And again, this is not something that needs to happen actually in your final days. This is something we should all prepare for now. I think it's good to start looking at these things, in your 20s. Not everyone has the ability to do this. And certainly there are tragedies that happen way too soon, and we lose people when we least expect it. And really that is the why behind why you should do this as soon as you can, because if you wait, you might miss this opportunity. So changing the way we die, we really are seeing some better outcomes now. If 90% of people wish to die at home, maybe one day we can reach that goal. Right now, we're not quite there. We have about 40 to 45% who die at home. So that is pretty good. But we have about 30% of people that go into the hospital, a time where if physicians had been honest, they may have been able to help these patients die more peacefully. This is really a sad situation, and I've witnessed it too many times. We do allow people to come onto hospice as a full code. So there are times when family will call 911 and EMS will come in and they will do CPR and they will intubate, and these people still do not make it out of their home to the hospital. Others do and end up intubated for a couple of days, and that is the way that their journey into another place starts, which is kind of a tragic ending in this place. Um, I mean, who doesn't want to die in peace at their own home, surrounded by love instead of surrounded by these machines? So currently, we don't teach death and dying to doctors or nurses. The conversations don't come naturally. Nurses really struggle, especially in the hospital, where the goal is generally to get people better and get people out of the hospital. And then people come in that aren't going to be successful at leaving that hospital. It should be taught in nursing school. It should be taught in medical school, um, and added as a complete course, not just one lecture that talks about death and dying. It's always amazed me that nurses have a whole semester of mother-baby wellness, and not everyone gives birth, but everyone does die. And shouldn't we put a little more energy than one short chapter into this? So, well, on to the fear here. Lots of ways that are available now for us to work on that fear. And it definitely begins by addressing all of our own concerns and expressing our gratitude for each day that we're here. It's important for us to seek out forgiveness, even if that means we can't get to someone in a face-to-face and we haven't built up to that place where we can look at someone and apologize. Maybe we can write a letter and tuck it away so that it's there, and you can have closure with that if you need it. Some of the other things that we can use to dissolve fear, which I know Jamie was talking about a little bit. Psilocybin. MDMA is not very accessible to most people, but it hopefully will become more accessible. Cannabis, for years I've talked about the cannabis comfort kit. That anxiety starts building up, and we can give someone lorazepam all day long. That's not going to dissolve that fear. It's going to put it to bed for a minute, but they're going to wake up and they're going to be in twice as much fear. Now people are really afraid that maybe I'm going to take this medicine and not wake up. Then their fear turns into delirium because maybe they aren't sleeping. And being able to utilize some of these medications, LSD, ketamine, can help us to have a spiritual awakening of sorts and realize that we are universal love. And so on palliative care and choices, palliative care is available before you have 6 months or less to live. And someone that's facing a chronic illness may wish to go ahead and sign up for palliative care. It is a Medicare covered program. It fluctuates from organization to organization. They aren't all alike. And most of them are free if it is under the Medicare benefit. Other organizations may have a cost for the practitioner that visits if it's a doctor. Some of them do send out nurses, so there's no charge at all for that. But if we have the right tools, we can help to dissolve that fear from this point, at least, a year, 2 years out, and help people begin to get things in order and find acceptance with what they know is going to come at some point. But now they really know it's going to come at some point because they have advanced in a disease process that will eventually be terminal. And we want to always provide patient-centered care. This is one of my dear patients, and at first he really wouldn't let me come past a certain time in the morning, and I later found out it was because he was drinking more and more. He, 11 a.m., that was the cutoff time. I couldn't go after 11 because he would start drinking for the afternoon, and he thought he had heard all his life, don't drink, and now why would I be any different? And I was different. I actually started to pay attention to all of these empty whiskey bottles, and I'm like, I'm not seeing them open, but I'm seeing them collected empty. And one day I came by and there was a beer can sitting there, and it just kind of clicked a few weeks after I had started seeing him. And I'm like, yeah, he's probably drinking a little bit more. He's got his beer can hiding behind this little plant or something. And I was like, I don't care if you drink, if that's what you want to do, but I do smell a little cannabis in here too. And that might be more helpful for you to increase your cannabis. And he was kind of glad to hear that from me, I think. Eventually, I had gone into his bathroom to get something for him and noticed a pipe sitting there. And I was like, oh, we had another conversation. Maybe because of this high flow of oxygen you're on, it would be more beneficial for you to use some edibles or, and just kind of encourage him to use something safer. I told him I would hate to come over here to have to clean your face off because your beard got all burned off when you're hitting the pipe or smoking a joint. And really his disease process was COPD. So his lungs weren't able to tolerate that much anyways. But, and he was scared and he was lonely. But as we got to know each other a little bit more, I approached the topic of death and dying. And I saw his fear. I'm here for that reason. But as we talked more about his feelings and the things he needed to resolve, and I helped him kind of set some things up to get things resolved and speak to the people that he needed to speak with. At one point, he said, "You have that social media, something you can get on there and see if you can find my friend. I have a couple of friends." And so I did that for him, and he got phone numbers and was able to reach out and find some peace. And the funny thing, really funny thing, was Christmas Eve, I woke up and I was going to take him some food over. I couldn't get him on the phone. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. I had planned on taking him some things. And the next thing I knew, I found myself in the liquor store right down the street from his house. And I live right around the corner anyway. So right down the street from my house. But I went in there and I bought some Bailey's Irish Cream and some Bloody Mary mix. And I walked out of there with like 4 different things, which I have only done once in my life. Like this was like, I don't usually do this. And I found out later, actually, on Christmas Day that he had passed. I knew it. I felt it. I felt him. And it was like, he took me in that liquor store to celebrate where he was. And I knew he was at peace. He had physically been struggling and his body wasn't serving him anymore. And that little devious smile there, that was on Halloween, and it was hot chocolate for the afterlife. So we had to joke and laugh about these things too. And in conclusion, I guess I just want to say, to change the way we die and experience death, we have to evolve. We do. We have to change the way we look at this experience. Death is not something that happens to us. It is something that we do. And if we don't do it, it is going to happen to us, but it's not going to happen the way that we hope it does. We may eventually lose that ability to make these choices. Last night, I had a caregiver say, "Lost my dad. He didn't tell us what was going on. It just happened so quickly, and he didn't know what to do. He was in denial." So we were like, what does he want to wear? Does he want to be cremated? And it had caused such distress that he said at this point he has gotten his mother to write down every wish that she has, down to the clothes. What do you want me to put on your body before you leave? And this man was actually caring for someone that he had just met, that he had befriended. He was in his 30s. She was 80 years old. And there he was, being a steward of dying and just sharing himself. And he said, "I wish everyone could do this. I don't understand why everyone runs. This is such an honor to be here." And it is. It is such an honor. So before I close, I have a meditation to share. And I realize that this may be very difficult for some of you. So I do want to say, if it's something you struggle with, please hop off if you need to. And I want you to kind of just ground yourself. You can close your eyes. So I want you to take a deep breath. And this is a guided meditation on permanence. And it'll probably take about 10 minutes. So deep breath and just relax into this. This is an ordinary moment. If you can, close your eyes and just focus on the sensation of breathing. Try to become aware of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. Become aware of this ordinary process. It seems so natural that we rarely even think of it, and yet it's this process of breathing that keeps us alive throughout the ordinary moments of the day. And now imagine that you're next to a large platform or stage. It's empty and there's nothing on it. And I want you to imagine your favorite possessions. Maybe it's your computer or your phone, your shoes, your books, all of your favorite things. Imagine that your stuff is being placed on this platform, on the stage, one at a time. And when they get placed there, they simply disappear. Everything gets placed on this stage and dissolves and just disappears. Yourself for a moment, seeing all of your stuff one by one being placed on that stage, and then it's gone. How does that feel when your things are all gone? Now I want you to imagine that all of your friends, all of your coworkers, the people that you know, the people that you love, imagine that their voices are all talking. They're talking to each other, they're sharing their stories. And as they do this, they're slowly stepping onto the stage. And single file, one by one, as they do, they dissolve. One by one until they're all gone. And after that, I want you to imagine your family, your parents, your siblings, your children. I want you to imagine their voices and envision their smiles and feel the love that you have for each of them. Imagine that they're all stepping onto that stage and they're disappearing one at a time. And now you're standing there next to that stage and you're all alone. How does it feel to know that your friends and your family, they are all gone? They've stepped on that stage. And in that room where the space is, where your bed and all of your other possessions are, all of them are now on that stage. And as you continue to scale back now, you're in your yard, feeling the sun on your face, feeling the wind on your skin, smelling the grass and the flowers as they bloom. All of that is now on the stage. And it all disappears. And as you stand there, I want you to imagine your memories, your feelings, all of the knowledge that you've gained from all of the books that you've read, all of the classes that you've attended, every word that you've ever heard, your entire vocabulary, every song you've ever listened to, every sound you've ever heard. All of them are on that stage. And it's all disappearing. And these things now, are gone, and there's just you. You're standing there, and you walk onto that stage, and slowly you disappear. And the stage is the only thing that's there, and then the stage disappears. And then that's it. There's nothing left in this physical world. There's just the awareness of emptiness, and that's all there is. I want you to notice what you feel as you become aware of this emptiness. Death will come in an ordinary moment, just like this one now. And now bring your awareness back to where you are, in the room that you're in the space where you are, opening your eyes if you've had them closed. I want you to take a look around and just notice how wonderful it is to be alive right now in this moment. This guided meditation that I did for you is just a practice of a reminder that death will come in an ordinary moment, just like this one. But for now, this ordinary moment is anything but ordinary. This is an extraordinary moment of being alive. This is the nature of permanence. Things are continually changing. And when they do, something else begins. And in the end, it's all impermanent. And what is left is this emptiness here. And think about that, but enjoy the feeling of how great it is to just be here. Everything the way it is, the bank account like it is, the friendships the way they are, the stressors, the student loans, the barking dog. They are just the way that they are. And the things in this life, everything just the way that it is good in this moment. I hope that you can carry this moment, every moment that we're here, every breath that you take, carry it with gratitude and exude love, because that's what we are. If we can't exude that, why are we even here? You know, sometimes it's hard, and we are human and have emotions. But if we get to a place where it's not a good place, we're not in the right place. So that is from my heart today. Thank you for your time.